Good morning, everyone. This is Tim Wilmot speaking from Wizard Systems. Thanks for joining me today for GoldMine 101, our regular series of GoldMine presentations. And this morning I'm going to focus on the differences between the additional contacts tab in GoldMine and the relationships tab. Now, this presentation will be approximately a quarter of an hour or so. It's just a basic overview of these two tabs. It's not meant to be in-depth training. My company, Wizard Systems, offers many extensive training options that you might like to consider. And in fact, we do cover these two tabs on both our introduction and advanced GoldMine training courses. Now, on the call today, we've got people using all sorts of different versions, mostly on later releases of GoldMine. I'll be showing you the latest version. Pretty much everything I mention is relevant to all versions of GoldMine out there. Now, the audio part of this presentation, as you've gathered, is one way only. If you've got any questions, please type those into the question box on your meeting control panel, which you should see in the top right corner of your screen, and I'll do my best to answer those at the end. Also, at the end, I'll be giving you an update on any GoldMine product news. This call, by the way, is being recorded. After the presentation, you'll get an email with a link to the recording, which you can obviously listen to again, and we'll most likely post it up on our YouTube channel as well. Okay, so let's get started. Just a brief mention, there's a few people on the call that haven't dealt with us before. Wizard Systems, we have been supplying GoldMine longer than anyone else in the UK and Europe. We're the top supplier in UK and Europe. CRM is the only thing we do, and we've been supplying GoldMine systems now for a long time and have implemented well over 3,000 systems all over the UK and further afield. We offer extra services around GoldMine as well. If you need any help setting GoldMine up, customizing it more to your requirements, integrating it with other applications, training you and your staff. We can train you at your premises. We have a training center near Bristol. We can do training online. And also we've got a fully manned GoldMine help desk as well to answer any of your queries. Okay, so the topic this morning is looking at the additional contacts tab and the relationship tab. Well, really the question is, we're selling into a company, and that company has multiple contacts, multiple people that we deal with. What's the best approach in GoldMine for tracking those people? And there's pros and cons with each of these different ways. Right, I would just pop into my demonstration system. So this is the latest version of GoldMine, and as you know, GoldMine, the key record of information is the contact. GoldMine essentially is a contact-centric system, so the primary record, the main record in the GoldMine system is a record of a contact. And here we have an example of a company, and there's a primary contact at this organization here. So Tim Wilmot is, in inverted commas, our primary contact. If you like, the main person that's the focus of our attention. But maybe there are other people in this company that we want to record along the way. We don't know, as we come across these people, we may not know how important they are in the scheme of things. So GoldMine has always had this additional contacts tab. So down there on the main contact tab bar is the additional contacts, where you can type and you can record as many additional contacts as they're called, miscellaneous contacts. So these contacts, these additional contacts, you can only store quite limited information against them. Mainly, of course, their name, their job title, references, a little bit of a description, if you like, a comments about this person. We have their address if it's different from the primary contact's address, Barry's email address, phone number. You could also put in Barry's mobile number there. Salutation if you're writing, emailing Barry, and also reference to a merge code and email merge code. So that's pretty much it with the additional contacts. So a really simple way of tracking additional contacts at this company. And if you right click over this additional contact record, you'll have a few extra options there of what you may want to do with this contact. So perhaps in the future, you discover that Tim Wilmot, the primary contact, leaves. That person is replaced by Barry Goodwin. So you've got an option here of swapping with primary, or maybe converting Barry to a primary contact record, which leads me nicely on to the alternate way of tracking multiple contacts, which is the relationships tab. That too on your GoldMine tab bar there. And of course you can move these tabs around. You can display them in any sequence you want to. So the relationships tab is a way of visually displaying all of the contacts in a company. And indeed, as you can see in my example, we may have departments, sites, groups within that organization. But here we have, if you like, a family tree of all of those contacts. Now, each of these contacts within that relationships tree are primary contact records. So I've just clicked on a contact here, Daniel Savage, and of course it's displayed his primary record there instantly. They are all, each of these contacts are all contact records in the system, yet glued together with the relationships tab. So because you've got a complete record here available to you for tracking this person, you've got more options of storing more information against them. So the relationships, using the relationships tab, allows you to store more information against those individual contacts and gives you a few more options there, particularly if you're very contact focused and you have lots of contacts within that company. So just to summarize then the key benefits of either approach. So additional contacts, nice and simple. If you're, let me pop back to my primary record, additional contacts, nice and simple. If you're in a B2B environment, then you could treat the primary record as the main company record, if you like. That would assist you there. The relationships tab, the main advantages here are more information, the ability to store more information against the contact, particularly important if your business is contact focused. Great for tracking larger companies. If you're dealing with larger organizations, maybe many sites around the country, multiple sites, that too is a great way of utilizing that relationships tab. Of course, because each of those contacts are primary contacts in their own right, you've got more options for searching on any field relating to that contact, which again will help you when you're creating any filters or groups, and potentially it might have the edge when you're doing any marketing through GoldMine, mail merge with Word, or more commonly any email marketing. Then because you've got more options of storing more information, profiling and categorizing your contacts because they're complete contact records, you've just got more options when you create those filters and groups there. Visually, it's a little bit nicer, perhaps, than you could argue than the additional contacts tab. So salespeople, when they're looking at a company, they can see that visual tree there. They can see who reports to who. Each of these entries here you can customize and tailor as you wish. You can drag and drop and move contacts around. So a nice visual appeal to it. One of the other benefits of using the relationships tab is if you're using the record typing feature of GoldMine. Now, if you're not familiar with record types is this is an inclusive feature of GoldMine. It's the ability to have different types of contact records. So by default, a record in GoldMine is a record of a person or a company, as we can see. But we can turn that on its head. We could actually have a record of a piece of equipment or a machine or a car or a property that you're owning. it could be anything that you want to, and all of these fields can be dynamically changed, can dynamically display the information about this different type of record. So we at Wizard Systems, we've implemented quite a few installations where our customers are selling or maintaining very expensive equipment, and they need to track a lot of information about that equipment, like the make, model, serial number, things that they've done on that piece of equipment as well. So in that relationships tree, if you imagine it, we can have records, of course, of the contacts within that company, but also pieces of equipment that's at that company site. So another advantage there of using the relationships tab. Okay, well, that's, as I say, just an overview of these two different approaches. There's nothing to say that one is right or one is better than the other. It's entirely up to your own preferences. But I suppose when you decide on which of these approaches to take, you try to make things consistent. And if you've got lots of users within your company that is using GoldMine, you want to make sure they've got a consistent approach. Then everyone is interpreting this in the same way. And you could also have a mix and match of two systems as well, of the two approaches as well. So even though Tim Wilmot is part of the relationships tree there of an organization called Wizard Systems, he or she could also have additional contacts as well. So you can sort of mix and match those two approaches as well. Right, as I normally do on our weekly sessions, I now like to open out our presentation. Any questions you've got there, please? So locate your question section on your meeting control panel, and I'll do my best to answer your queries. First question from Joey. I can't see the relationships tab. On your main GoldMine tab bar, if you're using a fairly up-to-date version of GoldMine, Joey, on the left-hand side, you'll see a little arrow. If you click on that, you'll be able to, in your preferences, you'll be able to turn off or on the different tabs on the main contact bar. Next question from Rhonda. Can you import trees? Well, you can with a utility called Innoport that we supply. So yes, if you've got contacts in some other database and you've got a relationship tree defined, you've got some way of identifying which contact belongs in which company, then yes, you can with the Innoport tool. Next question from Kath. Can I report on the relationships tab? Not very easily. You might be able to. We have done some reporting via the Crystal Reports tool, Kath. So yes, you can, but you'll never get the report to look like the relationships tab itself. That graphic will appear there. So I guess you could always do a print screen, Kath, as another option. Okay, next question from Chris. Are you able to search for additional contact or a contact in the relationships tab in the contact search center? Yes, you are, Chris. It's one of the options and one of the fields to search on. You can do, when you're searching for a contact, you can do a combined primary and additional contact search. Next question from Andrew. If you set up a relationship with another contact, does the other contact automatically add the relationship back to the original contact? Not sure if I exactly understand what you're saying there, Andrew, but I will get back to you on your question there. Next question from Richard. It may be useful to show everyone the relationship window on the left rather than the tab. We only use that. Yes, that's another option, Richard, of displaying it on the left-hand side rather than the tab. Okay, I don't think there's any more questions coming through there. If any more late questions come through, I will answer those after the call by email. Just to bring you up to date with latest GoldMine news, the last GoldMine hotfix was on January the 7th, hotfix 2. We are expecting a hotfix 3 any day now, so stay tuned to If you log into our GoldMine blog, we always announce it up there first. So if you subscribe to the blog, you'll get notification of that. We've got our next advanced GoldMine training course where we do cover this feature, the relationships tab, in a lot more detail on the 8th of March. If you've got any future suggestions for these short presentations, please email me, tim@wizard-systems.com. We are going to be announcing there may not be a presentation next Tuesday, there may be the next one 2 weeks from today. So stay tuned, look out for your emails from Wizard Systems on invitations and dates on that next event. Okay, well, thanks very much for your time this morning. Hopefully it's been of interest to you as a brief insight into the pros and cons of each approach. Have a nice day, and we look forward to hearing from you soon. Thanks very much indeed.